On her back was her adorable little frog backpack, perhaps containing a few favorite toys or some secret treasures of Lily's. A stylishly tilted baseball cap perched on her head, adding to her cute and mischievous look. She seemed to have just finished an early morning stroll outdoors, breathing in the fresh air. Lily headed straight for her little study table, set up in a corner of the room, a place where she often sat to play or research interesting objects. She gently placed her backpack on the tabletop, and then her attention was immediately captivated by a woven rattan basket placed beside it. Lily curiously peered into the basket, then used her tiny hands to rummage around, turning things over, perhaps trying to find if there was anything exciting hidden inside. After a while of fiddling and playing with the basket, without finding anything as thrilling as she had hoped, Lily, as quick as a gust of wind, hopped off her chair. She nimbly scampered deeper into the house, her small feet making almost no sound on the floor. Lily tiptoed to peek into a bedroom, perhaps Dad's room, as if wanting to check if he was awake yet, or simply intending to create a little surprise. Outside in the spacious yard, where various fruit trees that Dad had cultivated grew, Lily's particular attention today was caught by a tall papaya tree laden with fruit in a corner of the garden. The green papayas, some already showing patches of yellow, hung temptingly from the tall trunk, like inviting lanterns. With her innate curiosity, and perhaps a little craving for sweet fruit, Lily decided she would conquer this papaya tree herself. She nimbly approached the base of the tree, craning her neck to look up at the clusters of fruit high above. Then, without a moment's hesitation, she used both her hands and feet, gripping the rough bark firmly, and nimbly began to climb bit by bit with astonishing skill. Upon reaching near the papayas, where the branches and leaves were somewhat sparser, Lily began to use her hands to touch and examine each fruit carefully. She tapped gently on their skins, perhaps trying to check which ones were ripe and soft, and which were still green. Lily's eyes were focused, looking very professional, like a seasoned gardener. After a thorough survey, without being able to pick any fruit herself, perhaps because they were still too high for her to reach properly, or because their stems were too tough, Lily slowly, carefully climbed back down, not at all discouraged. As soon as her feet safely touched the ground, she looked up at the papaya tree once more, and then, as if a sudden idea, a brilliant initiative, had just flashed in her clever little head, illustrated by an animated light bulb appearing brightly above her, Lily immediately turned around and scurried off 4 paws a-blur to find reinforcements from her big human companion.
Đâu, cái gì đâu? À. Tí nữa. Cao ha. Cao lắm. Ôi trời. Tí nào. Tí nào, đi mượn thang nè. Cao ơi. Cho mượn cái thang xíu. Nào, lên nào, đúng rồi. Đấy, có cái này nữa được nhá.
Lily ran like the wind into the house, finding Dad perhaps busy with his morning work. She used her characteristic gestures and soft, cheep-cheep sounds, tugging at his trouser leg, while pointing towards the garden, trying to persuade Dad to follow her. Dad, seeing Lily's determined and intelligent expression, smiled and immediately understood his little daughter's intention. So, Dad temporarily set aside his work and went out to the laden papaya tree with Lily. As they approached the tree, Dad gently placed Lily securely on his shoulder, a VIP position that Lily adored. From Dad's shoulder, Lily's view was significantly higher. Then, Dad slowly moved closer to the tree trunk, carefully lifting Lily even higher, helping her to reach the papayas on the lower branches. But it seemed the best, ripest ones were still further up, out of reach. Not giving up, Dad went into the storage shed and brought out a small, lightweight aluminum ladder. He carefully leaned the ladder securely against the papaya tree trunk. Then, with Lily still perched on his shoulder, one hand holding Lily, firmly the other gripping the ladder, Dad slowly climbed up step by step. Just like that, Dad helped Lily reach the highest papayas, the ones she could only gaze at longingly from below just moments before. Finally, with the excellent teamwork and determined effort of father and daughter, a perfectly ripe golden yellow papaya, large, round, and fragrant, was successfully picked. Joy was evident on the faces of both Dad and Lily. Dad carefully held the papaya in one hand, his other arm still securely holding Lily, and then both of them happily carried their spoils of victory into the kitchen. Here, Dad placed Lily on a small chair, then began the process of preparing the papaya. A little later, perhaps, feeling the armchair was a bit too high and not as comfortable. Lily independently moved from the armchair to her familiar beanbag chair, shaped like a large pea pod, placed in a cozy corner of the living room. Then she sat leisurely on the beanbag, her eyes intently focused on the TV screen, which was showing some program that seemed very engaging, possibly a cartoon with amusing characters or a lively children's music show. In the afternoon, after the household chores were more or less settled, Dad had another new plan for Lily. He wheeled his familiar moped out into the yard, then started the engine. As soon as she heard the sound of Dad's moped outside the gate, Lily, who was inside the house, rushed out like an arrow, her happy cheep cheep sounds echoing incessantly. Dad stopped the moped, then took out some fresh, delicious fruit, perhaps a few juicy oranges or mandarins from the moped's basket, and gave them to Lily. Lily happily accepted the unexpected treat from Dad. After that, as if remembering something extremely important for every moped trip, Lily toddled quickly into the house, and a moment later returned with her cute little helmet in her hand. Dad immediately understood her intention, smiled, took the helmet, and carefully placed it on Lily's head, not forgetting to fasten the strap securely. Then Dad gently lifted Lily onto the moped, placing her securely in front of him, between his handlebars, a safe and also very exciting position for sightseeing. Father and daughter then set off together on a new adventure. The moped chugged along merrily, taking father and daughter to a new destination. This time, their destination was a vast, expansive field, fresh air, and in the distance, a gentle small river meandered by its surface, sparkling under the afternoon sun. The scenery was truly open, peaceful, and picturesque. Father and daughter found a cool spot to rest under a large ancient tree by the riverbank. Dad took out the oranges he had prepared, peeled them, and shared them with Lily. Both sat together, enjoying the sweet, juicy orange segments, feeling the sweetness spread through their mouths. After eating the oranges, Lily, true to her active nature and innate climbing skills, delightedly ran to a nearby tree, then nimbly climbed up its not-too-high branches, flitting from one to another, then safely descended back to the ground. Dad watched from below, his eyes filled with pride and affection. After playing for a while, perhaps feeling thirsty, Dad took out a bottle of filtered water he had brought along and gave Lily a drink to quench her thirst. Finally, before getting on the moped to head home, father and daughter went down together to the riverbank, using the cool, clear river water to wash their hands thoroughly, enjoying a little more of the coolness and purity of nature. It was a truly joyful, meaningful, and memorable afternoon outing, concluding a long day filled with exciting activities and new discoveries for little monkey Lily beside her devoted dad.
Thích không? Trồng cho Ly một cây trong nhà nhé. Được không? Trồng Ly một cây trong nhà. Em đi chơi đi ha. Ra bờ sông chơi đi. Đi. Lên chơi nhá. Đi nào. Thấy không? Thành nha. Rồi, đứng thẳng nha, đúng không?